A new college designed towards STEM education coming to Bentonville. We'll tell you about plans for the university that will take over the old Walmart home office building. Local art is taking a stand against graffiti in Fayetteville. How creative projects are helping keep the streets clean.
Covering news where you live. This is 5 News First at 4.
La pace sia con tutti voi.
Peace be with you all. The first words of Pope Leo XIV. Thousands packed into St. Peter's Square today after Cardinals elected a new pope after the death, of course, of Pope Francis. Thanks for joining us for your 5 News at 4. I'm Darren Bobb, and for the first time, it's the first pope born in the U.S. Bradley Blackburn has the story.
White smoke billowed from the Sistine Chapel, a signal the Cardinals had elected a new pope. The crowd in St. Peter's Square erupted in cheers, then waited in suspense for the announcement.
Habemus Papam.
Habemus Papam, we have a pope, and the world's first look at the new pontiff. Emerging from St. Peter's Basilica, Robert Prevost becomes the first American pope in history, taking the name Leo XIV. His first words, peace be with you all.
La pace sia con tutti voi.
Prevost is seen as a progressive on many social issues. Overall, he's viewed as a centrist. Like Pope Francis, Prevost has spent time embracing marginalized groups like the poor. He has dual citizenship between the U.S. and Peru, where he served for years.
This is an extraordinary moment for American Catholics, seeing Leo XIV on the balcony, the first pope born in the United States, who is now spiritual leader for nearly 1.5 billion people.
He's the least American. I mean, that's, I think, what made him electable.
As crowds rushed into the square, a surge of emotion caught up with Tammy Harper.
It's just everything.
Once in a lifetime.
It is a once in a lifetime, and
for us to be here in this moment.
Just so blessed and grateful.
For the crowds watching and waiting, it was a once in a lifetime thrill.
What are you hoping for in the man that comes out on that balcony?
Peace, kindness, humanity.
In the seconds before the white smoke, a baby bird tested its legs next to the chimney, a classic symbol of rebirth as the Catholic Church begins a new chapter. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, the Vatican.
Took a 2/3 majority to elect the new pope. It means after just a for just a second here. It means just after a day and a half, at least 89 of the 133 cardinals voted for the 69-year-old missionary.
Let's get a check of live Doppler radar. A lot of us a bit dry out there, but yet again, I'm tracking a few real spotty showers. It's kind of tough to see it from the big picture, but when you look a little bit closer, we're generally finding these spotty showers north of I-40. They're very hit or miss. If you are one of the unlucky few to get one of those, it's not going to last long. Rain, for the most part, relatively light in nature. Those are moving from the north to the south, so some of them certainly could be moving into the river valley over the next couple of hours. I think by 9 o'clock, most of us are dry. We're falling into the 50s overnight tonight. We'll have mostly clear skies while we're asleep. More clouds on the way going into your Friday. Let's call it partly cloudy skies. There is going to be an additional chance of rain. Upper 50s for lows in the river valley. We do start to warm things up tomorrow. A light chance of a few spotty showers, mostly in the river valley. This weekend, still looking fantastic. No changes there. And next week, still looking quite warm and muggy. Heat index values back in the 90s. We'll track when that arrives. And then a more typical May pattern, meaning stormy pattern, likely moves back our neck of the woods next week. We'll take a look at when there as well.
All right, Scott, thanks. Students are getting another choice of university in this area, one with a particular focus on science, technology, engineering, and math. 5 News reporter Jacob Luthi live in Bentonville now. And Jacob, that new school will be located in an area that is very familiar with a lot of folks.
Yeah, Darren, the Walton family announced just today their plans for that new STEM university, and it'll be right here at the Walmart home office, part of a mixed-use development that they have planned for this area. Now, this is the former Walmart home office on 8th Street, and under the group Heartland Forward, the university is expected to have about 500 students in its first undergraduate class. A specific date hasn't been revealed, only that it is expected to happen in the coming years. That number is eventually expected to grow to 1,500 undergraduates. And officials say the university will be designed to reimagine STEM education for the next generation of builders and entrepreneurs. And earlier today, I asked Mayor Stephanie Orman about the new plan development.
This additional announcement with the STEM school coming, hopefully it's just another signal about Bentonville and how we're growing and being intentional with that growth and looking for future forward investments like this to continue to grow our city.
Now, some fields of study include computing, biomedical technology, and technical management, and further plans for the building will be coming soon. But for now, I'm live in Bentonville, covering news where you live. Jacob Luthi, 5 News.
All right, Jacob, thanks. New at 4, the Arkansas Supreme Court has denied Amber Waterman's appeal that her state case should be dismissed on grounds of double jeopardy. Chief Justice Karen Baker released the opinion, saying the court rejects the double jeopardy argument because the federal and state cases had different offenses. The federal case focused on kidnapping across state lines, while the state case will focus on premeditated murder. Now, the court approved the judge's initial ruling that double jeopardy does not apply to the 2 counts of capital murder, and the state can continue prosecuting her for those charges. Prosecutors have maintained they do want to pursue the death penalty. President Trump announcing the first new trade deal since implementing sweeping tariffs. Trump administration says the deal with the UK opens up more market access for American companies. That 10% baseline tariff remains in place, but the deal scales back the levies imposed on British cars, steel, and aluminum. In return, the U.S. says the British will open up export opportunities for American agricultures like beef and ethanol. Experts say trade agreements typically take a year or more to finalize. Treasury Secretary acknowledged there will still be work to do even as new deals are announced.
It will be the agreements in principle, and then we will paper them over in the coming months. But once we reach an agreement, then I am sure that the other countries will live up to it.
Okay. In congressional.
Secretary Scott Bessent heads to Switzerland today for meetings with Chinese counterparts this weekend. During the first Trump administration, it took roughly 2 years to reach an initial deal with China after tariffs were imposed in 2018. Police in Fayetteville say public art may be playing a role in reducing graffiti. They're seeing fewer tags in areas where local artists have created murals. 5 News reporter Morgan Wrigley explains what they believe is driving this change.
Fayetteville police say they've seen this make a big difference all across the nation and right here at home. They say in a lot of cases there will be some areas that were frequently targeted by taggers, and after local artwork went in those locations, it was like a night and day difference. From colorful walls around town to decorated utility boxes to art along public trails, community art is popping up across Fayetteville. Police say it's been placed in areas like the wall along Nelson Hackett Boulevard and the pump station building at Poplar and the trail crossing. Those used to be common targets for tagging. Now they've seen a drop in incidents. They credit community-supported art for making would-be vandals think twice.
There's no telling really where or why people choose to deface other people's property. And we do see, artists put a really nice mural or piece of art on a location. I think that there is a reluctance by people who maybe are tagging for artistic purposes to go and deface that artist's work. That's something that they've really worked hard on. Police say they're continuing to work with local artists and community departments to continue placing these murals, local artwork, in places that have been commonly targeted. In Fayetteville, covering news where you live, Morgan Wrigley, 5 News.
The Stamp Out Hunger Food Drive comes back to Rogers this weekend. It is the largest single-day food drive in the country, helping provide solutions to food insecurity. All you've got to do is leave a bag of non-perishable food next to your mailbox on Saturday. Your mail carrier will do the rest. This year marks the 33rd anniversary of the Stamp Out Hunger Food Drive.
So we will collect your canned goods and non-perishable food items or personal items or monetary to pass out to our local communities for all of our neighbors, friends, family that are in need.
Get this, over the last 30 years plus, the drive has collected nearly 2 billion pounds of food.